My name is Monica Atkins, and this is the neighborhood where me and my three children, Marcelo Atkins, Antonio Atkins, and Amber Atkins reside. This is the area where my kids went to school, and all of them graduated from Western Branch High School. My son he was a people person. The community, they loved him. Days when it snowed, he would get out here and be a good citizen and help my neighbors and them shovel their driveways without being paid, because that's just the person and the personality that he had. He was just a free-spirited person. His smile and his personality, not even that, his manners. My son's 25th birthday was August the 6th, 2014. 11 days later, August the 17th, 2014, my son had his firstborn son, which changed his life miraculous. My son was so excited about being a father that he used to keep his son all the time. He would transport his child back and forth to Portsmouth to our family members' houses, just happy to be a father. Actually, my son had another son 2 months after the passing of him, who would never be able to know who his father is or what he was like. His older brother worked at the Kroger's that was out here in Churchland. And he called me and asked me, he said, "Mom, is Marcelo home?" And I said, "No, he's on his way from work." He said, "Well, I'm gonna meet y'all at the house because we're gonna go out." Him and his girlfriend, Amber, they came to the house to pick up his oldest brother, which was Marcelo. And my last day seeing my son actually was the night before his death, which was December the 4th. I wasn't able to get the last conversation, but his last words that he will always leave with before we always part our ways was, "Mom, I love you." It was just so unreal because, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm asleep. I have to be to work 5 in the morning, and, I'm sound asleep. And I get a knock at the door, my room door, and it's my daughter. And all I could hear her say, "Mom, Marcelo said he's been calling you. Smuggler's dead." And it didn't register. I'm telling you, it didn't register because I just sat on the edge of my bed, because I promise you never could have told me my son was gonna be murdered in the city he was from because he was so popular. But again, I was numb. I was numb. People in Portsmouth know who murdered my son. They know. And I just look at people different now, because even some of the people that say they love him, people know who murdered my son. Somebody wrote me a letter to my house. People want to help, but they're scared. But I refuse to give up. I'm not giving up. I will get justice for my son. And I promise you, I will. I stand on that. I stand on that. And I'm gonna continue to be the voice. I'm gonna continue to spread awareness. I'm gonna continue to keep his legacy alive, because they took something a part of me. The location that we're at right now is the location where my son, Antonio Smug Atkins, was murdered on the night of December the 5th, 2014, here in the city of Portsmouth. I received a call. My daughter knocked on my door and woke me up that night saying that her brother was shot. After just sitting on the bed, trying to get my thoughts together and absorb what I just heard, I knew I had to actually come out here to see was it true. Amongst getting off the interstate, I noticed that an area on Effingham Street was taped off with yellow tape, so I pulled into the convenience store. And just things running through my head, where's my sons? My family and them went to the hospital, where they called me and said that my son wasn't in the hospital. So my oldest son, which was in the car that night as well, he called me and said, "Mom, Smugger's still in the car." And I'm coming over trying to get through the tape, and they told me that I couldn't come over, and I'm like, "Is my son in the car? Is my son in the car?" And they was like, "Yes." And to my knowledge, you know, I assume me being his mother that I would have to come identify his body. But from my recollection, due to his brother was in the car, his brother was able to identify that that was him. My son, his older brother, and his girlfriend were leaving the nightclub Vanity on George Washington Highway. My son was en route to take his girlfriend home, which she lived in Old Town. And someone drove up and shot the car up in the process of them going to her home. My son was murdered on site. His girlfriend, the bullet that actually went through the back of his head, it came through the side of his face and hit his girlfriend in her jaw and shattered her jaw into 50 pieces. My son in the back seat, thank God he wasn't touched. I guess for his age, him being 30, at the time he was 33, he weighed 110 pounds. He was able to duck in the back of the seat and was able to get out and run actually across here until, you know, he was able to get away. It was unbelievable. I mean, not saying that it couldn't happen to me or no one else, but state of shock. It was shock. You know, I thank God for my family, which is my big support system. You know, we are a close-knit family. But what got me through the most is his friends and my family. You know, I believe I stay strong for them because they actually, when they took my son's life, they took a piece of their heart. Prior to this happening, I couldn't ride down Effingham Street. But now, it don't bother me because I know I'm doing something positive that my son would want, you know, that my son would be proud of me. You know, I'm keeping his memory alive. I'm speaking up because after my son's death, that's when hell broke through. It was numerous deaths after my son, repeatedly, you know? And I just want to be able to continue to be the voice and assist the parents that's voiceless. A lot of people think Stop the Violence 757 started because of my son. It actually didn't. The year prior to me losing my son, I lost my cousin, Aaron Turner. And somebody reached out to me and was like, Monica, we're going to do this Stop the Violence event and we want you to be a part of it. And we all rallied at Norcom High School in the field, talking about the senseless acts of gun violence and how we all can play a part. And in that same circle where we prayed at, my son is in that same circle, not knowing that I was gonna be impacted by this the following year. Like I said, it hit home when it touched my son. And I've been out here since 2014, nonstop, dedicated to be an activist, a community activist and an advocate to end this senseless acts of gun violence. I stay strong because I continue to keep my son's legacy alive. I celebrate his birthday. I celebrate his death date. I will continue to celebrate the legacy of Antonio Smooth Atkins until the death of me. If you can save your child's life, if you see them walking in the wrong direction, please intercede to be the change or to say something or to want to address what he's doing wrong. Because believe it or not, we are the biggest impact in our child's future. If you know something, say something. Do not wait until it touch on your doorstep to want to be able to address the issue that I'm going through right now with the loss of my son, Antonio Atkins. It's important for the city of Portsmouth to feel safe again because the only way to clean it up is to get the murderers off the street. Us as parents, we deserve justice for our children.